There is a voice inside of me that whispers all day long. I know that this is right for me. I feel that this is wrong. No preacher, teacher, husband, friend, or wise man can decide what's right for you. Just listen to the voice that speaks inside. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice that I refer to is something that pushes us on to achieve, that drives us on to loftier heights. So I'm very privileged today to have our lovely Deepti Chacko Bangera with us. Deepti was our winner in the plus size category at Mrs. India Empress of the Nation 2021. Deepti, how does it feel to finally have a crown on your head?
It feels marvelous. And trust me when I say this, for an ordinary life, a person who comes from an ordinary life, entering into a glamour world, and then to win the title, actually, it's a dream come true.
Wow.
And it opens doors to opportunities that were so unknown to me.
Super. Let's start, Deepti, with the memories you have of your school days.
School days, okay. That's one of the most beautiful days of my life. And when I say that, as a child, I was almost like a child prodigy, very, very talented in sports. I have represented Maharashtra 8 times at the national games.
Wow.
In athletics, that being my main games. Mm-hmm. And within athletics, I was superbly well and good in 100 meters run, 200 meters run, and shot put. Hence, as I grew like my teenage age, I reached a very amazing track game called heptathlon, where you have 7 games clubbed together, and this is basically for people who are good at in their sprinting as well as throwing abilities. So I was perceived like someone who would win that Olympic gold for India or that Asian Games gold for India.
And this is even more synonymous considering we just finished with Paris, France.
Oh, absolutely. And when I see that, the memories of my childhood just come rushing back to me.
Okay. So there's this lovely line, Deepti, that says, a mistake that leaves you humble is better than an achievement that makes you arrogant. Is there something about your past that you'd like to share? Anything you'd like to get really candid about?
Absolutely. So, like I said, a child prodigy, and also had this, a dream to be a fighter pilot. So these were the dreams when I was pursuing.
That was your Lakshya, is it?
That was my Lakshya.
Wow.
And I was very, very disciplined and very focused to achieve it, and I would have achieved. While at it, I was in 3rd year of engineering. So I represented my college in a volleyball match, which was the most least important volleyball match of my life.
Oh.
And there, I dashed into another player.
Right.
She dislocated her shoulder immediately, and I got a disc prolapse.
Oh.
And I ended up being on a bed for next 6 months with excruciating pain, sciatic pain, which runs from your lower back whole to your left leg.
Right.
And there's no way that you can stand. Even if you manage to stand it, you would stand like a prawns.
Almost with curved spine and stuff.
You can't stand straight.
Right.
And it's so painful. Those 6 months of my life were so painful that even a normal fan would irritate me.
Oh, the breeze, the light breeze
that is
of
hitting you, it's irritating me. That's the level of pain that.
And the pain was excruciating all through these months?
All through.
It never subsided?
Never.
Oh.
Not for a second.
Oh.
So how do doctors help me? They will give me an epidural saline. Now, epidural saline means an injection which is given inside your vertebral column, into your spinal cord. That kind of distances the prolapsed disc with your injured nerve and gives you some relief.
Right.
So, but how many would you take?
Right.
That is.
And then the body gets attuned to it, and then obviously the efficacy goes.
Then doctors started putting me on steroids.
Right.
Every week I would put on a 5 kg.
5 kilos in a week?
Yes.
Oh.
So disc prolapse doesn't come only with.
So this was the fallout of the injection, the medication you were taking.
Absolutely.
Right.
So and now I, being an athlete, a professional athlete, I would be at a weight training. I would be having a certain diet, and all those things came to a halt.
Oh.
So the body isn't exercising,
Right.
but it is used to a certain pattern,
Right.
which is messed up completely with the pain, with the medication, with the steroids. Everything was like messed up. I find myself crossing 100 kgs.
Oh.
Okay, and
This from a lady who was normally around 60.
60.
Right.
Now understand my situation. Inside, I'm still the 65 kgs old woman.
Right.
Outside, people perceive me differently now.
Right.
They see an obese girl.
Right.
Why? Because you have crossed a certain bodily type, which
that's
they
right.
perceive obese, which
Yeah.
they perceive extremely lethargic, not good for anything, not doing good in life. How will she come back? All those things they perceive. That's what obesity does to people around you.
Right.
It may or may not affect you.
Correct.
Medically, it may not be affecting you, but it changes a lot of equations of your social circle.
To very little fault of yours, but medication does that to you.
Yes.
So, was there a time that you said, let me snap out of it?
The thoughts that came to my mind, I would see advertisements. It's all calling out to women and their insecurities related to their bodies.
Right.
So I was battling obesity,
Right.
but there were so many around
And
me.
sorry to interrupt, but at this point in time, did you start accepting yourself as a relatively larger person? Did you, at any point in time, you face this kind of being at the crossroads?
So, when this prolapse happened, the
Right.
first thing that shattered was my dream to become a fighter pilot.
Oh. Not an athlete.
More than an athlete, a fighter pilot.
Right.
If you know me well, my sister is in the army. So we had this, back in my
Joint dream.
I
Right.
wanted to fly, and I wanted to fly a fighter aircraft because I come from Hindustan Aeronautics Limited where my dad worked. So we are born into a place where we open our eyes not to see our parents but to the MiGs. MiG-29,
And-
MiG-27s.
And Deepti, I must share a little secret with you. One of the top movies, or one of my favorite movies of all time, is the Tom Cruise movie Top Gun,
Oh.
which I feel every growing boy, especially, should see, for the reason that it gives you the chance to see where your life can go or how your life should shape out. And I think now I'm very happy to have another Maverick in front of me.
Yes,
Yeah.
I would have loved to pursue that
Right.
life, but then it didn't happen.
Okay.
Inside, I'm struggling to understand where this is going. It reached a stage where it started becoming a little embarrassing because I have left my school, come to another city where people don't know. So they don't know my glorious past.
Correct.
They see me for who I am today,
Right.
and they perceive or judge me from what they see.
Right.
That's the time when I started looking at all the advertisements,
Right.
all the brands. What do they promote? I found it very silly that most of them speak about a standard beauty box,
Right.
and they expect you to fit into that box.
Which is kind of crazy because, Deepti, I know we've always talked of body positivity, and it may be a little personal, but would you like to share something about the obese phase of yours that kind of spurred you on to saying, let me leave this behind?
With obesity comes advices.
Right.
Things that will never fit into your jurisdiction of being a healthy human being.
Right.
That
Right.
kind of sombar ko inko jal chadao
Yeah,
from
right.
that to a level that you are sitting in a birthday party and you are surrounded by your own family members, extended family members, same family members, and then a child is picking up a cake and the mother tells her, बेटा ये केक मत लो वरना आंटी की तरह बन जाओगे.
Oh. That's pretty cruel.
With obesity.
With you be sitting there.
With obesity, people get, I don't know from where they get that confidence that they can tear open your self-respect and they can just tarnish and go back. So that comes with obesity.
Right.
That was a time when I felt it's enough. And the way I carry myself, the way I speak with people around me, I never had this bullying experience.
Right.
But obesity started becoming a part of how people look at me, or it became a part of my personality.
Oh.
So that was a time when I started writing blogs about it, because it started hurting.
I'm sure.
And I felt that a person cannot be judged by just the way they look.
Do you recall a phase or a time when you said, why not give the fashion world a try?
When I started writing blogs, I started getting replies, messages, even phone calls from people very remote.
Right.
They don't know who I am. They just read the blog and wants to connect. And then I realized it's not just obesity. Probably obesity is the most easiest thing that you can change in your body. There are people who are short and they feel very insecure, inferior about it.
Or dark for that matter.
Dark, and they cannot do anything about it. Right. So that's the time when I thought that I should speak about body positivism.
Right.
I should tell people that it's okay to look at yourself and say that I embrace myself.
You in fact wanted to educate the masses that this is how society should accept.
Yes, I wanted to reach out to those people who are suffering this. At that point of time, I didn't see many celebrities talking about it, because that was a time when the size 0 of Karina was catching up.
Right. Why specifically the thought of a pageant?
Okay. Now you tell me, if I just walk into a mall, hold a mic and start speaking about body positivism, will people listen to me?
They'll probably ridicule you even more.
For reaching the right crowd, you need a credibility.
Yes.
Credibility comes from the platform where you speak. So a platform which is glamorous could attract heads, could turn heads, could attract eyeballs, and that way my message could be penetrating into the society where I need. That's why beauty pageant.
Wonderful. Then, when you say beauty pageants, how did you hone in on DIVA specifically?
This is an episode. So I was in Gujarat, I think Ahmedabad, and I finished a meeting and Harile came out, and I just stepped out of the door and I found a huge billboard of DIVA Pageants where the queen is getting crowned. And since it was running in my mind, I said, wow, is there some divine connection? Divine connection. So I just thought of giving a ring, and I noted the phone number, made a call, and the first question that I asked is there a weight limitations that you have? And the first thing that ma'am said is like, you could be any weight, any height, any color, whatever is your hair or without hair, you are welcome.
Wonderful. Wow. Then there's a big shout out to Anjana.
Absolutely. So that is inclusivity.
Right.
And hence DIVA.
Did you feel during your pageant journey that A, you're in the right place, and B, at least you weren't shamed by your fellow co-contestants?
Here we believe in one tagline, and that is, queens fix each other's crowns.
Yeah, that's right.
So we don't ridicule, we celebrate each other.
Right. Now you got into a world that traditionally only was for slim people.
Absolutely.
What would you like to share about this journey that you went through with DIVA, and specifically the world of pageantry, where people can draw inspiration from?
So earlier when I would speak or I would write on my blog, I would get 5-6 likes.
Right.
2-3 would call me in a month.
Right.
And that was, I still
cherish
it. But that was my reach.
Right.
Now I'm invited to places, universities.
You're invited to a talk show.
Absolutely. Also, maybe a TEDx speaker very soon. So, this platform opened doors to things that can let me reach millions now.
Wow.
So from 2 to 3, now I speak to millions. Now I connect with them.
Wow.
And like I said, not this Deepti, that Deepti has changed. Now people
Again,
saying
sorry,
this.
while you're on this topic, Do you find a marked improvement in people's perception of you now?
Absolutely. See, with pageantry, it's not just you get a platform, they also groom you, right?
Right.
So we were very raw when we came.
Right.
And then we were groomed into how to walk, speak, talk, stand, behave.
Right.
These are a couple of things that immediately catch people's attention.
Correct.
Your personality speaks. So when you now speak from a prestigious platform about a content that touches millions of people's lives, you are heard. This used to never happen before.
Right.
All that you could do is write. Who would invite you?
So you'd advocate pageantry for people from all walks of life?
Absolutely, if you can take it. I know people feel it's a lot of work. Walking on the ramp on a 9-inch heels is not easy. Working out for it, looking after yourself, maintaining a good diet, not just for you but your family. So the beauty of married women pageantry is that you don't, like we say, एक बेटी सीखती है तो एक घर सीखता है.
Right.
When one woman is groomed, she grooms her children, she brings a change into her households. When people around her sees her, she changes her friend circle, and that's how it becomes very epidemic, you know.
Wow. Yeah, that's when you start an epidemic. Yes. As we talk very proudly of Deepti Chacko Bangera as our, or at least one of our most articulate, attractive queens. And proof of the pudding is right now, which you're doing fabulously on the show and being as candid as possible. Where do you see your life now that you're a corporate honcho and you're a winner of a beauty pageant? Where do you see your life? Are there any dreams that you have yet unfulfilled?
So dreams gives you the direction where you want to drive. And just as Abdul Kalam sir said, right, it's not something that comes to you when you're sleeping. It's actually,
they don't allow you to
doesn't
sleep.
allow you to sleep.
Correct.
So I want to be a motivational speaker. I would want to connect each human being who is going through a body positivism issue today and tell them to love yourself. You are good enough.
If today you are a relatively large person, or maybe a young bride-to-be who would at some stage have experienced the similar kind of negativism that you did, what would be your message to them?
When you have a certain challenge in life,
Right.
first thing, accept it. And be your best friend.
Right.
Don't ridicule yourself.
Wow.
Be strong with yourself. And if possible, what worked for me was, I said, all this is fine, theek hai. What next? Think about that one
So you're
dream.
talking about a dream.
Think
Yeah.
about that one dream.
Excellent.
Something very unimaginable today, like when the moment you tell it to yourself, stand in front of a mirror and say that I want to be this, you should feel, like laughing because
Right.
it's unimaginable for you today.
Right.
That's the dream that you should focus and achieve. Each day, move bit by bit towards it. And trust me, from where I am saying this, if I can reduce myself from 147 to 87 now, this is for me to achieve my dream of maybe in under 50 category to play for India. So I have my dream in place.
Wonderful.
I'm working towards it.
Wonderful.
What is yours?
Okay, let's end this fascinating session on a really, really bright note. I had authored a book some time ago called Beginning is Everything, which went on to be an Amazon bestseller. And it is specifically not about inclusivity, but about being different and about your introduction being the start point of not only your pageant journey, but about life. But I'm very privileged today to be talking to a fellow author. So would you like to share about your own book?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So just like you, I also authored my first novel on fiction. And the title is Her Master's Grief.
Yes.
This is a small, very small story staged between the sultry land of Tamil Nadu to Korea. and how a very little girl who loses everything in life,
Right.
but ends up being in a house in Korea with a man whom she doesn't know, a language she doesn't know. They never communicate with each other, but yet pain in his life, pain in her life, grief brings them together.
Wow.
So grief is not just an emotion, it's a language that people speak, because when you go through grief, you unite as human. So that's the crux of the whole story.
Yes, yes. The greatest form of motivation is rejection. And I think you have epitomized how being rejected truly was the impetus for you to push forward and achieve what you have, which is phenomenally, Deepti, and we're very, very proud of you. Before we end, I know that you're in the midst of your second book. So please share just a little bit about your next venture.
So it should have come out by now, but
Right.
because I'm a corporate woman, time is less, and I'm a mother of a 7-year-old, it takes all my time.
Right.
So my next book is titled as Octopus.
Aha!
And it has to do nothing with the aquatic element of it.
Or the spreading of the tentacles.
The spread of the tentacles is 8 different stories.
Right.
Spread across different genre, different type of people, different lives, different generations.
Right.
But entangled at one point. At
Oh, I
some
see. So
point.
each of these stories come and get enmeshed in one point.
In one point.
Wonderful, wonderful. So before we end this absolutely marvelous session, let me gift you something.
Oh,
And
wow.
I, off the top of my head, I can think of nothing better than my own book.
Thank
Beginning
you.
is everything. And Deepti, as I hand it over to you, and as we come to the end of this very, very wonderful session of Candid with Karl, I can wish you the very, very best. So may this be the beginning of everything wonderful as you go forward.
Thank you.
Cheers. I'm really proud to gift you an autographed copy.